And welcome back to the 2019 Asham U.S. Open of Curling. We're here on our second draw on Sheet C, featuring Team Markey against Team McCarville. McCarville ended up getting hammer on the draw to the button. So again, Sean Murray will be joining me shortly. He'll end up taking over the broadcast. Our other matchups here, of course, Sheet A, Team Dunham versus Marnock. B, South Korea, Team Kim versus Baton. Sheet D, Smith and Corbett. Sheet E, Ruinen and Brundage. And Sheet F is a bye. I know we're showing teams up there right now. I'm working on how to make sure that that's not showing, but that's erroneous information at this point. So again, welcome back. Looking forward to another good game. We had 3 extra end games in our first draw today. Get our on-ice mic up and running. First rock slips into the rings. Nose hit by Team McCarville. Again, Dominic Markey is originally from Switzerland. Living in the U.S. now. I think he's working on his citizenship. But he was actually a part of the medal-winning team from the last Olympics out of Switzerland. So nice to see Dom putting a team of U.S. guys together to do some work. And they're actually playing pretty well. Some relatively inexperienced competitive curlers on this team, but great to see more guys jumping into the game and really putting in the time. So I'd like to welcome to the mic our friend Sean Murray. Sean, welcome back on the air.
Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah.
Sorry I'm a little late. The roads are not the best right now.
It's all right.
I got here.
It's all right. So you might want to pull your mic out a little bit. I had a few comments that I was a little hot earlier.
Okay.
And all I did was move the mic out. But other than that, good reports on our levels. Everything's been great. I had a little hiccup with the YouTube privacy settings this morning. Somehow my stream got set to private.
Oh, and is that why it wasn't? I saw it wasn't broadcasting.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Right,
so
okay.
I think we've got that all corrected. So
okay.
we should be good to go.
Excellent.
And I'm going to step away here. I'll probably pop in and out throughout the game.
Okay.
But I'm gonna basically leave things to you.
All right.
So we'll jump off the mic here while I just clue Sean in on a couple of things, and then he'll be back in a few minutes.
So looking for the come around. Looks like it needs to stop. Slide all the way through. See my Super League teammate Steven Dropkin ably subbing there. They were nice enough to get him a jersey. As John was saying earlier, these guys skipped by native Swissman Dominic Markey. I really hope I'm saying that right. Been playing a few spiels this year, done pretty good. Mike McCarville looking to make use of that corner guard. Looks pretty good on this, but I don't think it's going to get under that guard. Oh, it actually finishes pretty hard. Buries about 2/3. You can probably throw hack weight and hit that. You can try to play it to roll onto that center as well. Obviously the pro side here is a little tight. You bump that guard out of the way, that's not a problem. Looking for hack weight. Stevens' first shot of the game. Looks like it has the guard. Oh, oh. Oh, I think he called him off. He thought it was by. Oh, man, that's a tough one. Does push that stone fully out into the open. So not a complete loss. So looking, Mike's going to ask for another one to come around that guard. Put some pressure on this Markey team early on. What you don't want to do is slide a little deep. That could set up a possible double if they can see enough of that right one. This looks. Ooh. Well, I'm not quite sure what that was. I heard a big thud. You saw the camera shake. If somebody maybe wasn't real happy with the shot, but getting back to our game. The way there's a setup, there is no double. You can hit the one on the right as we're looking at it, roll over, try to kick the other one into the open. See how this works out. A little bit of a late finish, but I don't think it's really rolling anywhere. It sits right there. Carvel's still sitting one behind that guard. He brings another one on top, and that's what the call is. Drop another one right on top of that, and big chance for maybe three. Pretty good. Very nicely played. Dominic really with no choice but to play a run back. He's got to open up this situation. Thing is, even if the guard wasn't there, not really sure you can double these two. You have to get that top one flying a long ways across the rings. He's trying to make contact in some way, hopefully get rid of at least one. I think he'd like to hit it on the broom side, drive it into the left side of the two, get the back one going, lose the one that he's hitting out the left side of the house as we're looking at it. Trying to conserve on this one. Dominic can definitely throw the heat. Well, he hits it the other way, and that worked out pretty good. He killed his own, which wasn't helping him anyway. Spun the one he ran back out. And it does spin that one underneath the center, which is not ideal, but better than being stacked under the corner guard. And he can see enough of that one to hit it or play a short run back. So Mike talking about where best to put this. I like what he's thinking. You want separation to make any double as hard as possible. But the trick with this one is that it has to be past the other yellow. This is one situation where you actually would like to go behind the tee line. Because anywhere top four or even higher, if it doesn't bury, that's going to give Dominic a pass at a double. Weight communication is going to be key on this one. The sweepers are saying that it's heavy, then, you know, back there somewhere, even if it's wide open, is okay. But if it's level with the other one, then I think they're going to really have to go and get it as far back as possible, because if it's not going to be past the other one, it has to be buried. Like it needs to stop. Slides all the way to the back 12, but that's a good shot. Electing to play the freeze by that ice. Try to shrink down the scoring area. Playing to tap this back? I'm not sure I like that. Now with that ice, looks like they're going to try to hit. You could probably hit enough of this to slash it across, make the double, and get out of this end with a blank. You got to make sure you get by that guard. You have a wreck, giving up 3. Close. Just gets by, but gets rid of the one. Get very close to that guard. Mike McCarville with the hammerstone left to deliver. Just going to throw the exact same shot he just played. Same exact draw, same exact line. He knows the weight. Sweepers know the weight. Overweight looks like it's pretty good. Down to the back one, but it does just stop in time. So Markey picks up an opening end deuce. I'm sorry, McCarville picks up an opening end deuce. And Dominic Markey and team will have the hammer for the start of the second end. So back underway, second end beginning. Carville, very patient deuce that end, had a chance for 3. Great run back by Dominic Markey. Limited it to 2. Throw the corner guard, but this looks like it's in the rings. This is more than in the rings. It might be through. Oof. Not the best first stone from your lead. But he'll get another chance. We're playing the 5-rock free guard zone, so even that one couldn't be peeled. But Mike McCarville calling for this second stone in as well. We'll see if that alters Dominic's thought process. Also, definitely not light. Sets up a pocket. That's really where you do not want to put it. Drop one right in front of those. Right over top of that little white spot there in the back of the forefoot, and definitely take at least 2 shots to remove. Has to finish pretty hard, and it's getting there. Taps it back just a bit. Pretty good shot. Not exactly what they wanted, but still a good spot. See how Mike wants to deal with this. He'd love to lose at least one of his own stones back there, because they're not helping him where they are. Let's try to hit it on the broom side, catch a little piece of that third shot yellow. Just like that. Perfect. Well, we'll see if Dominic wants to try the corner guard again. Oh, he's got to play the hit. This is really moving. Got just a piece, but it won't hang around. Nothing at all in play. Mike's going to make a little bit of a gambit, throw a center guard and see if he can try and bait Dominic into coming around it. If Dominic is content to hit his way out of this end, I'm assuming he'll peel this. Looks like it's just barely touching the rings. Don't think Dominic can afford to leave that there either way. Calling for the hit and just roll to the side a little bit. Off over curls again. It's 2 minutes in a row that we've seen curl a bunch from Sean Banyai. I don't know if maybe he's a little tight or he's getting those going a bit. Mike calling for it in. At this point, Dominic's probably content to just hit his way out of this end, blanket, and try the offense again in the third. Draw slipping behind the tee line. Probably some quick ice out there, I bet. Well, now in the third rocks. Dominic not playing around. Just going to play the hit. Focus on trying to blank this end. Speaking of quick ice, it was handed a note that apparently hog to hog we're running about 14-8. That translates into 25, almost 26 seconds if you time hog to stop, and that is pretty fast. Based on the movement, knowing how Todd likes to before events like this, I'm going to guess that Todd probably scratched the rocks. Yes, he did. That was confirmed. Between that and the U.S. Men's National Challenge round, which will be here next weekend, kind of figured he'd want to scratch the rocks for this event, give them a little bit to settle in so that they're not super, super snappy. So with the world's most exciting end currently being played, I'll just talk about how we do have another draw tonight. I believe 7 o'clock, then 3 more tomorrow, followed by the playoffs on Sunday. I'll be around for everything, and tonight I'll be joined by the inimitable Evan Jensen on the mic. Now Dominic will have the chance at the blank, hit and roll away. And if you remember, the very first stone of Team Markey's end, very first stone called was a guard and ended up slipping into the rings, and that stone, way back then, second shot of the end, is what is predicated this decision to try blanking. It's just how the end shook out. Looks like no mistake from Dominic, makes the blank. And he'll have the hammer again at the start of the third end. So beginning the third end. Once again, Markey with hammer. See how McCarville wants to play this. You could come in, you could throw a guard. Looks like he actually tried to throw this short. And it looks like it is just barely short. Camera overhead doesn't quite cover the very, very edge of the front. But none, it must be out. Dominic is calling for the corner guard. This is the shot that slipped into the rings in the second end and led to a blank. Dominic would rather not have to do that again. This looks pretty good. Just keeps going and going and going. Fairly tight corner guard, but absolutely usable. Mike asking his lead to play the intern. Come around to that center that he just played. Well past the guard. Finishing about half under the guard. Pretty good speed. Dominic calling the freeze. And, welcoming JB John Benton back on the mic again.
Settling in, are you?
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Not a bad operation.
Not at all. Not at all. Very easy to use. I mean, I'm just, you know, folks, I'm just running, doing all the switching myself. Just hit a button, hit a button, hit a button. Pretty simple operation. Very, very smooth operation set up by Mr. B here.
Well, you know, I've been really wanting to get this done and have the equipment in-house to do the streaming, you know, and it's usually up and running for league, but it's just been kind of a static view. But we got the overheads done now and got some audio gear in here and finally able to do this so that it's high quality, I hope. So really happy about that.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things so far.
Good.
It's, and did I understand that as of this morning you had a men's team just decide not to make the trip?
Yeah, so the Travis Bale team from Winnipeg, they actually made it as far as Fargo, but last night the roads were closed in Fargo until this morning. And talked to them on the phone. They tried to venture out this morning and got as far as Moorhead and just said, you know, there's no way. Mm-hmm. They had wives and kids with them, and I just said, look, your family, their safety is way more important than the Bonspiel. And,
yes.
You know, they felt really bad. You know, obviously the event being down a bunch of teams, they really wanted to get here, but you know, it is what it is. We make do. You know, take care of the things that we have in our control, and I'm just glad that the event got off to a good start.
Absolutely. Looks like it's moving along pretty good so far. So did that require any alterations to the draw? I mean, you've now got kind of a hole in the schedule, sort of.
Yeah, now. So the only thing that happened is obviously there'll be a bye each draw for the team that was supposed to play Team Bale. And then as far as playoff qualification, we were going to basically take the top 6 records out of both pools.
Okay.
Now that we lost a team, that becomes a little more difficult. So Pool A still has 6 teams, so they'll play 5 games. We'll take the top 3 teams from that pool.
All right.
Pool B is down to 5 teams, so that's 4 games. So we'll take the top 2 records out of that pool.
Okay.
And then for the 6th and final spot in the playoffs, we'll have the number 4 ranked team from Pool A and the number 3 ranked team from Pool B play a play-in game.
Okay.
So that seemed to be like the most reasonable way to do it without, you know, trying to figure out, you know,
Yeah.
tiebreaker scenario where you have a 3-2 team playing a 2-2 team.
Yeah,
it just, so it should be relatively clear as long as we don't end up with like a 3-way tie somewhere,
Yeah.
which might be possible on that 5-team. You know how 5-team brackets work.
Oh, yeah.
Inevitably, you end up
Yes.
with a 3-1, 3 2-2s, and a 1-3. But we'll see how that works out. Hopefully it won't be an issue tomorrow night. We'll just have the one game in the evening, and it'll all be clean.
Right. I think you and I have both had enough bad experiences with an event where there's split pools and the pools don't have the same number of teams, and it's like you do the best you can.
Yeah,
right?
you do, and I certainly don't fault Travis and those guys for
Absolutely not.
making the decision that they made.
Absolutely not. So there have been a couple of nice shots made by Team McCarville and Team Markey finding themselves in some trouble here.
Yeah, I was talking to Pete Annis, coach of Team Bruinen, who they played McCarville the first game, and apparently McCarville had draw weight the entire game. That went to an extra, and Bruinen ended up losing to McCarville. So, good start for Mike and the boys here.
And they came down from, is it Thunder Bay? I
Thunder Bay,
believe?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thunder Bay, Northern Ontario. Glad that they were able to get down here.
For sure. We've always had, whether it be, St. Paul or Eveleth or Duluth or this event, we've always had really good attendance from the Thunder Bay teams. Usually Port Arthur Curling Club is where most of them are based, and it's just been a real luxury to have, high quality teams from that area come down. And that's 25 years plus running.
Yeah. You seem to always have some good Northern Ontario teams coming to U.S. events. That last shot there, pretty sure that's not where Mike wanted it. Back 8 foot, kind of around everything. That kind of lets Team Markey off the hook here. They can play a tap on this stone that's in the top 4 foot. Just move it behind the tee line, and they can set up a wall. Like that about 8 feet higher than that. Makes the tap. Pretty good shot. Winds up second count. But pushes it behind the tee line to a pretty harmless spot. Looking for the hit and roll. I'd like to roll right under that center guard. This looks like it's not quite going to curl. I got to watch the jam. Did jam, but roll just far enough away. I think yellow is sitting 3. It's awfully close.
Yeah, I was mentioning about Dominic. It's pretty interesting to see him, participating in the U.S. events and kind of having this scrappy throw together team of, some relatively inexperienced competitive players.
Oh yeah.
And Dom, he's got a bronze medal to his name now. So
Yep.
I mean, it's a lot of people don't know that about him. That they don't recognize that he played in 2018 and won a bronze with the Swiss team. So.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool to see him doing this on the U.S. tour.
Yeah, first ran into these guys at the St. Paul Cash Spiel, and they did pretty well there. They also played in the Lakeville Dakota Challenger Cash Spiel. I probably just butchered the name of that, but had a good run there too. I think they made it to the final?
Yeah. Let's see. Not sure where. I'm going to go take a peek on the World Curling Tour.
So Dominic and Steven discussing their options. Assuming that Carville's sitting 3, I'm pretty sure he is. I don't know that you're really going to get much by hitting something. You can't hit that top 8-foot Carville stone and roll into the guard because it would jam. So Steven was down there. They talked about it. I think they just elected to play the come around. Probably not going to be Blaine in this end, I would think. Big shot here from Steven. Has a lot of moving to do. It's a little rub. Weight was pretty good. It just didn't quite finish. Wickland sweeping on the right there might have booted that center guard a little bit with his foot.
Yeah, these guys ended up winning that Dakota Challenger Spiel. It was a smaller event with looks like just 5 or 6 teams, but
yeah, it wasn't a very big event. I know that much. 5 teams.
You know, Dominic and then Jed Brundage, of course.
Yep.
A few other kind of Brian Turwidow from up here, Ryan Murphy and Paul Ellerby from down there. So you know, not a ton of top flight teams there, but you know, good to see them. You know, really trying to get their chops in.
Yeah.
I know they're scheduled to go to Phoenix, so it's,
for the Golden Wrench.
Yeah, for the Golden Wrench. So it's you know, they're putting their time in.
Yeah, that's very good. And that is most definitely a top flight event. You've got, you know, just some guy named Mike McEwen that always plays in that. I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Well, that new combination.
That new team, him and Reed Carruthers. Good Lord.
Exactly. Yeah, it's there'll be another team down there. Team Allen will be down there.
The team of NFL All-Stars.
Exactly.
You happen to be coaching,
exactly, yeah. So that's going to be fun. You know, they played. Mark Bulger and Jared Allen played up in Eveleth and got their first, you know, kind of taste of what the World Curling Tour is like. And
just by the guard.
Wow.
Was that a nice shot?
And then they'll be here next week for the challenge round. So
very good.
It's going to be interesting to see how good a job I've done.
Very good. Well, all right. Was at Rice Lake when those guys played in their first ever Bonspiel, and they showed a lot of promise even there. But they're really trying to go hard and jump feet first right into the fire, and that's well, kudos to them for giving it a go.
Well, the thing, I mean, obviously a ton of people asking a lot of questions about it, and the thing that you know, these guys are all competitors, right? I mean, they love to compete, they love to win, and they've been coached their whole lives. So, and they really are not afraid of anything, right? So it's been fun to work with them and see them develop, and you know, in 7 pretty short months, you know, they've come a long ways, and
absolutely,
you know, that it was it was kind of fun after Eveleth. There was, you know, some conversation online about, you know, whether it was feasible and whether they should be doing this and whether it was insulting to people, and you know, I see both points. You know, people who've worked there, almost a quad.
Oh man, kind of bad luck to catch that third one on the back there.
Exactly.
But definitely better looking than it was.
You know, I understand, you know, that people have played this game their whole lives with the hopes of making the Olympics. So, you know, Jared coming right out of the gate and saying that, you know, he wants to make the Olympic team in 4 years, I can see how that might be a little disturbing. But I would tell you that, you know, he doesn't mean that with any ill will or disrespect to anybody who's done that.
Sure.
And my whole point has been these guys have 2 advantages that none of us have ever had, which are time and money.
Yep, and that's
right?
really what it takes.
So if anything, it's kind of a compliment to the people who've done it their entire lives, having to have a family and job and all of those things. I mean, these guys really have the whole world at their disposal, and they want to see how good they can be in 4 years.
Absolutely, and I think it's really cool that they're at least trying. And I mean, you've got some naysayers out there who are like, oh, they're wasting their time, they're going to get slaughtered. And, well, yeah, they probably know that.
Yep.
I mean, they're aware that it's going to be a learning curve. Anything has a learning curve, but you know what? They're out there and they're trying, and I applaud that.
Yep.
And if any longtime players are concerned, it's like, oh, why are they doing this? I've been doing it longer than they have. Well, okay, beat them.
Right.
They're curling just like anybody else. Go beat them.
I think more than anything, it was, Jared slid out and threw his first rock in Eveleth, and the report that I got was that, there were jaws on the floor upstairs. Their athletic ability alone will carry them a long way. But of course, the big question is the experiential part of this game,
yep.
right? The stuff that you can't really teach, you actually have to see it.
Yes.
How much of that can we pack in 4 years, and does it result in the necessary number of wins, right?
Yep.
To build confidence and to be playing at a level where you can compete with the best. That's the big question mark, and none of us has an answer.
Right, and you won't really know until you basically get a year or two down the road and you see how they're progressing. It's like, I mean, anyone with enough coaching can throw a good rock, but can you think about the game the way you need to at that level to be successful? And that is, again, like you say, that can't be taught.
Well,
I think it has to be learned.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody when China first kind of broke onto the scene, that's kind of what we saw out of them 6 or 8 years ago was, geez, they can throw a really good rock, but they lack the experience to have the strategy knowledge, to make it work for them.
Right.
And we've seen over time that's been changing, and they're obviously having better results. So I just I feel really fortunate. I made a phone call. It's free to ask, as a lot of people say, and Jared responded, and I just feel really lucky to be associated with it and to be their coach. I have high hopes for them, and I intend to push them. I intend to push them as hard as I possibly can, because they're professional athletes and they're used to being pushed. So
sure.
It's going to be a fun project.
Absolutely. So there was a game going on out there, but
there was
somehow.
Looked like Dom was able to get his one there, just barely.
Just barely. Oh man.
Squeaking by that guard.
Never wrecks that guard as a steal of 3.
So 2-1 after 3, yeah.
Yep.
And going into the halfway point, tight game, and I think I will step away again. I'll probably join you for the last few ends of the game, and
okay.
We'll see you in a little bit.
Very good. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Sean.
So, a bit of a curious start to this end. Markey's first stone actually came in. Pretty sure he wanted to guard. Carville chose to ignore it, and I believe they wanted to guard, and that too slid in. So now with a stone having a piece of the forefoot, Dominic would like to guard it, but this looks like it needs to sit to be short of the rings. It's actually going to drift in. Pretty straightforward double. Carville's lead's probably salivating. Leads don't get to throw all that many doubles. Looks like it's curling too much to make the two. Sits in front. Interested to see how this plays out. It's probably not the best position for that thrown Carville rock. It's really close, but it's kind of in the way of getting to it, especially if a guard is successfully made. This too tight. It's just going to make it easier to run back the tighter it is. Ooh, it's coming in. Well, it ends up not covering that yellow at all. Pretty much unmissable 8-inch run back. Wouldn't even call this a run back. It's basically just a hit. Play it like you're rolling a bit to the broom side. Hit rolls a bit and sits three. Dominic looking to maybe use that cluster of stones in the middle to his advantage. This is really moving. This might be missing everything. Uh-oh. It's Sean Banyai again. I got to assume he's just not quite getting out to the broom. She'd so many of his hits over curl by quite a bit. I have to watch his release. I don't know if he's sliding tight or turning them in. He looks like he's got a pretty soft release, but there's something going on that all these hits of his keep moving too much. Carville's got to be thinking he's struck the lottery, sitting three with hammer. No real guards in play. about where to put this. I think they're going to elect to play the draw out to the wing there on the left. I'd like to have this right around the tee line area on the left. Even back 8 foot isn't too bad. Sweepers aren't showing any interest in it whatsoever. This needs to grow teeth. And it will not grow teeth. Now with it being Stevens' first shot, talking about what to do. Obviously, there's a very simple double you could make on the second and third shot in the top of the house there, but then you might just see you're going to probably lose your shooter, or it might just roll and cover that one on the right, and then McCarville's going to split the rings, and don't really want to give up another deuce and go down 3. So I like the same call. Hit and roll off a second shot. Try to get underneath those 2 yellows in some manner. It's going to make any kind of short run back tricky because of the way they're staggered. Moving to do. I don't think it's going to get there. Just doesn't come up. Hits and sticks for second shot. Mike would certainly like to hit that. Just the question is, where do you roll? Do you sit there? Do you try to roll under? Rolling under, of course, brings in the risk of a possible triple. Unless you roll dead underneath, and then it won't be a triple. Trying to make this stick. This in danger of rolling out. Oh, rolls out. Oh, man. That lets Dominic and team completely off the hook. Steven with a chance to bail his team out of some heat. Pretty simple double, just a little bit on the broom side. Make them both fly. You can probably even hold the shooter in the rings. To come up. No mistake. Doesn't hold the shooter, but that is just a bonus anyways. Now it was looking like an interesting end again. Has now been reduced to what could easily turn into a blank. Only 1 stone in play. Just noticed over on sheet E in the Bruin and Brundage game, appears Rich Ruinen's team is playing with a sub. Troy Nürnberger is playing in place of Greg Persinger. See if I can get the story on that, whether Greg will be here later or couldn't get down here for some reason. So our feature game looking very much like a blank. At the moment, looks like we've got 40 people tuning in. Glad you all could join us. I guess glad you all could join me. I'm the only one sitting here at the moment. Sean Murray from the Four Seasons Curling Club. U.S. Open. Fourth end, Mike McCarville, Dominic Markey. McCarville ahead 2-1 with hammer. Last couple shots of the fourth end. Last shot. Sorry, Mike's last shot. He can hit this on the nose and be out of the rings and blank it. But nose hit anywhere broomside. Stay there, roll away. Blank the end and keep the hammer. And no mistake. Carville will keep the hammer going into the fifth end, maintaining a 2-1 lead. So establishing the center guard, Team Markey. Can hopefully steal. Carville would like this over on the side of the rings. Not short. Well positioned. very aggressive, trying to throw the second center. Line's not bad. Maybe a little closer to that tight one than he would have liked. So they're bringing the second one in. I think they'd like to get it somewhere past that other one. Kind of sits right next to it, though. What wants to do here is sort of make the double, hit the left one first, catch the second one, and then actually spin up behind the guards. It's an easier shot than it looks, but Champagne is struggling a little bit with his hits. He's missed a few tight. Let's see if he can make a good one here. Actually hits it pretty good. Not exactly where he wanted, but still a pretty good shot. Gets rid of one. Goes inside and does hit shot. Mike just electing to play the nose hit. Wants to hit and roll inside, but this is going to roll away. We'll see. The guards are close enough. Mike could elect to double peel those if he wanted to. Or if he wants to get aggressive, try to score a couple. Could come around. A little bit of a gamble, leaving those center guards up there, but he may feel he has the advantage. Can't afford to do is sit behind the tee line here. Very aggressive call. Line is pretty much perfect. It's all about weight now. It's dead sunk underneath that tight guard. It's going to pretty much force Dominic's hand. He has to follow that. Hard to place that a whole lot better than where it is. It's deep enough, it's biting the button. It's not so deep that you could play any kind of double off of the left one. Stevens' first shot, looking for the in-turn freeze. Cannot afford to bounce off. Just a little too much weight on that from Steven. Having played with Steven all year in Super League, I know he's probably beaten himself up a little bit. He has a tendency to do that. He wasn't that far off. Mike with a chance to hit and roll under the guard again. Really put the screws to Team Markey. But this is all over the guard. Opens the door again for Steven to try this freeze again. Got a little more room. The guard he's coming around is not as tight. I know that body English. He's not happy with this one either. Where that rolled to, it's difficult to deal with both of these. You could make the double on these. You'd have to hit just a piece of the left one first, but your shooter's going to spin a long way to the right and up. That's really not as easy a shot as you might think. Mike's motioned the two shots that I'm kind of thinking. He's motioning right now, hit third shot, roll in front of the other red, and sit there. He also talked about hitting second shot and rolling into the yellow on the button and kicking it over to the right. And I kind of think I like, well, I don't know what I like. I'm just going to put that out there. I suppose I'm okay with either one. My only concern is that it looks like they're electing to play the first of Mike's choices to hit third shot, roll in front of the red second shot, sit there. The only concern is that that's going to leave Dominic some kind of an out-turn tap. If made perfectly, could actually leave himself sitting two, but let's see how this goes down first. Ooh, that actually works out really, really good. Rolls and kind of gets up in front of the other buried yellow, and now this is looking like serious trouble for Team Markey. Not having the hammer, 3 McCarville stones in the house, all buried. And that lone wolf red looking very lonely at the moment. And it's wide open. Dominic feeling his best option at this point is still to freeze. And I'd say at this point I kind of agree that he is still sitting second. This is on a guard, I think. Oh, boy. I reckon the guard there was not the best result from that shot. Or as a certain snake I know might say, that was suboptimal. Carver with a chance for a huge end here. Makes the hit, wants to try and roll under the corner. It's the left as we're looking at it. Could sit 4. Needs to curl. He's on. Oh. Well, that was a little bit different. Mike must have been a little wide on that. Ticked his own guard, ticked the corner, spun in, killed one of his own, but ends up in not a bad spot. But the way it wound up, he actually ended up leaving Team Markey shot. Dominic having a bit of a discussion with his team about the shot. I think he's elected to play some kind of a hit. Probably going to hit second shot, maybe just sit right there or roll a bit to the center. Needs to be very accurate with this. Throwing a lot of weight. That's probably about as good as you could make that. That was not an easy double to make that way. It was the only way to make it and save your shot stone behind it, but really great shot. Now Mike McCarville's got a double for another possible 2. I think if you hit this on the nose, it's got to be probably a little more than normal to be sure it goes. It'll be just a fraction on the broom side to make this. Oh, hits it too fat, and that's going to be a steal of 1. Team Markey ties it up on a fantastic shot. Last shot by Dominic Markey. So that's going to level the score at 2-2. And McCarville will still have the hammer at the start of the 6th then, right after this. So first shot of the 6th for Markey, slides back 4 foot. Mike McCarville not concerned about that at all. Going to throw the corner guard. Would really like to score this end. Dominic wants to roll back to the center. He's going to spend the end trying to stay away from that corner. Carville is going to desperately be trying to get over to that corner. Nice hit and roll. Very, very nice throw. It's far enough that a hit and roll is very difficult, but not so far that Carville can really afford to ignore it. Kind of has to hit one of these. Looking at hitting the back one maybe. Thinking that's probably an easier shot. 2-foot roll rather than a 7-foot roll. This is not rolling into the red at all. Just going to stay right there. What Dominic wants to do with this. He's actually looking at rolling to the left a little bit. I personally would like to kind of see a nose hit here. Any roll to the left is just going to make any kind of roll from a Carville easier, but that's just me. I don't have an Olympic bronze medal, so what do I know? Definitely want to stay in the rings. Well, rolls the other way, but not a bad shot. Still stays in the 8-foot, so Carville still really has to hit something to try and bring that corner guard into play. It's one of the things about that corner guard is that it's so wide. It's only covering the 12-foot. So if he just drew under that, he wouldn't even be second shot. Lineup, it's pretty good chance to take a pass at the double. Take a pass at the double, have one in the rings. If you get a roll out, then you can go into the corner. Very nice shot. Now, that rolling as far as it did, it's wide enough. Mike could now go under that corner guard. I think that's probably the shot. I was saying at the beginning of the end, he'd like to score here. I mean, obviously two or more is always ideal, but getting on the board at all to take the lead in the 6th end is always a good play, and really no danger of a steal. So I like this call. I really do. It's a risk-free chance to maybe set up 2. I think it has pretty nice weight, but not quite finishing. Only gets a piece under the guard. Dominic just calling to freeze down to it. It's not a bad call. You could also try to throw back line to Hackweight and try to tap it. Either call works. This has some moving to do, though. Ooh. Bit of an overthrow there from Steven, goes right through. Little less ice, and that would have made the tap, but really opens the door wide for McCarville now. He can drop a second one under there. This one, too, has a lot of moving to do. Be careful they don't set up a double here. Gotta bounce it off. Take a look at the overhead. Double possibly there. Welcoming John Benton to back again.
Yep. Done running around, and I think I should be mostly set for the day.
All right.
Like McCarville had an opportunity there previous end and just needed that rock to come up a little bit, and he was going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah, it must have been just a little wide. It ended up working out not bad. I mean, he removed one of his own, but then even at the end of the day, he had a fairly routine nose double for two and just couldn't pull it off.
Right. Dom made a nice double there. And
Dom with his first shot here. There's two ways to approach this. You could hit it on the broom side with a fair bit of weight, make the double. Shooter's gone. Then you might see Mike go into that guard again. Or you could just cross the face a little bit, hit and roll in front. The quieter weight, it looks like they're playing the... Well, actually, at this point, it's the double. Well, double made. I'm guessing that was the call. They talked about the other option.
yeah, interesting here. You know, Mike
Electing to hit this.
Yeah. You know, he could go under that corner.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he wouldn't. It's a zero risk chance to get two and also to throw back-to-back draws.
We've also seen a couple of rocks kind of out in this distance, just watching from behind the glass. Get out here, and some of these rocks will take off on you. You think they're running a little bit, and you know, just a little fresher out there.
Yeah, they just move hard all of a sudden.
I think he might be playing for the long roll here, eh?
That's an incredibly long roll if he is.
It's close.
I don't think it's going to roll quite far enough. Nope. I don't know. Me personally, I had to play the draw. Even sixth end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer in being ahead going into the last two ends.
Absolutely.
I don't care who has the hammer.
Yep.
If you're up by 1 or 1,000 going into the 7th or the 9th end of a 10-end game,
You're in good position.
You're in good position.
Yeah, that's what I was saying at the start of the end, is that the sixth end, Mike would just like to score here, something to take the lead.
It's always one of those interesting questions because, you know, there's a couple of historical games that somebody had basically a wide open house or an opportunity to blank the end in the sixth, and the question becomes then, well, do you take your one when you have
your one?
Right?
That's right.
And I'm going to say, 90% of the time I'm going to take my one. But there's a lot of people who would say, no, I'm going to keep the hammer, even though the statistics say it's in your favor to be ahead going into the last two ends. So.
And I guess that decision just boils down to the preferences and style of the skip.
Really.
Sure.
Sure.
Would you rather have the hammer? Would you rather be ahead? Neither one's wrong if it suits your playing style. Well, I can remember a game from, I want to say the 04 or 05 Brier, where Randy Furby was representing Alberta, and I believe it was the ninth end. I don't know who they were playing. It was the ninth end. They were down one, and they had an opportunity to draw for two. They peeled their own out to blank it. Because they wanted to get their 2 in 10, and that's exactly what they did.
That's one of the classic situations that people talk about.
So Mike successfully makes a hit and roll out to blank yet again. So it's going to stay level at 2-2. Carville will keep the hammer. I'm assuming he wants to see the hammer all the way through the eighth end. We will have the seventh right after this. So 7th of 8 ends. Dominic's definitely going to want to try to force one this end. He'd love to get the hammer back for the 8th end. Guard slides just a bit off the center line, but still not bad. And Mike McCarville, of course, as we've seen, and based on his last couple of calls in that last end, most definitely wants to blank this end.
So I think with the 5 rock, you're not going to see it in this situation, but playing to the wing becomes really interesting.
Yes.
Because the team without the hammer really has a free shot at, setting up 2 centerline guards.
Yep.
And the team with the hammers basically assured of having to make a double peel.
Yes.
So we'll see how it plays out here. I think, the next shot from McCarville after this centerline guard is the big question.
If it follows the pattern I've seen in this game, it wouldn't surprise me to see him put a second one on that side where he put the first one.
Right.
That's what he called a couple ends ago.
And typically the only other real option is to come around, which is something that in this situation especially Mike doesn't want to do. Is he doesn't want to get trapped into the forefoot. So,
and you certainly don't want to split the rings because then you've cut off your peel paths.
Exactly.
So so he's going over to the other side, like I thought. So he wants 2 in the rings, but not into the guards where Dominic could potentially tap them or freeze to them.
So now the question becomes, does Dominic ignore these rocks? Assuming McCarville's team makes this, does Dominic ignore them and go around his own 2 guards, or does he make a play on them?
Well, and that's going to depend on how desperate he is to steal this end. Is he willing to risk giving up a 3?
This is looking pretty good so far.
It's over far enough where it's not an issue. And now we'll see what Dominic wants to do.
He's going to play the hit and roll.
That, too, kind of follows the pattern I've seen of the calls. He's not afraid to throw guards and play aggressively with one in the house. But once it gets to be two, he starts thinking, it's a tight enough game. I probably should hit something.
So anybody watching, following the conversation, I think regardless of what happens with this shot, we know exactly what McCarville's next shot is.
Yep, absolutely.
And that is?
Peel a guard.
Yep, he's going to go right up and peel the guards. So, you know, if you were really trying to steal, play hard for a steal in this situation, you might ignore these two rocks and go around.
Yep.
And this is, you know, really something that I got used to seeing and playing with Todd. We played this situation with the hammer a lot, playing to the wings.
Yeah.
Just simply because we didn't get trapped into, you know, 8 rocks in the 4-foot all the time.
Right. And you see what's happened now. The hit was called, but the shooter was lost. And now these guards are vulnerable. And this is exactly what Mike wanted.
Yep. And that doesn't mean you don't go after those rocks, but that looked like normal plus.
It looked like a lot of weight. I wouldn't be throwing that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to hold the shooter, it's control at the most.
You know, you're not trying to make the double there. You're trying to make a roll.
Yep. Looks like just the one.
Gets the one off. How many guards do you need to steal?
You only need one, but
when do you want to come into the rings?
I would say right now it is incredibly early to do so. We're not even out of seconds rocks yet. I'd be throwing a high one right now, and I think that's what Dominic's calling.
This is always that kind of critical question of, you know, when do I throw the guard? When do I come into the rings? I wouldn't mind coming in here either, just simply because if you don't have a lead and sweepers who you know can place this rock in a really good spot and not leave a double on the guards, you know, that's the danger you're trying to avoid now is you know, giving them an easy double peel.
Right.
And this looks heavy.
This is not going to end up where they wanted it.
Do get it by.
It's awfully close to that guard, though. So it ends up becoming a come around, and with about 4 feet more weight, it'd be a really, really good shot. But as it is, it's just not quite touching the 8 foot. So there's not a lot of distance between these two.
I love this call by McCarville, the way he's peeling this rock.
Absolutely. Peeled it over the top.
Over the top. If you make the double, fine. If you don't make the double, you're still not going to leave a center guard there.
That's right. It's close.
Really close. Got to get up a little. And it looks like you got them all.
There it goes. And just like that, the end is over. Well, the end is not over, but it's looking more than likely like it's going to be a blank. And not to pick on Dom, but this kind of came about because he elected to play the hit on those two on the side.
Yep.
Shooter rolled out, and you know that is exactly what Mike McCarville was hoping to have.
So now we'll likely see the end finish out with peels, unless something odd happens. A nose or a flash.
A nose or a flash, yep. So, John, maybe you know the answer to this. I was mentioning this earlier. I noticed that Pooh Bear Greg Persinger is not playing with his team, Ruinen, this weekend.
Yeah.
Is he going to be, and Croy Nuremberger's in his place, is he going to be making it, or is he just not here this weekend?
I think he's just not here this weekend.
Okay.
I know that was the case in a couple other events. I think for a lot of these guys last year just got to be super, super, super long.
Oh, yeah.
So spending some more time with the family, first year of the quad, try and get your time in if you can.
And especially in Greg's case, having to travel from Alaska every time.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that gets not just old, but expensive.
Yep, expensive. And Greg's got family and he's got a business to run, kind of like we were talking about earlier with Jared and those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as if those guys don't have other things to do, but it sure makes it easier when you have the money and you're not having to keep a job or a business necessarily put together.
Exactly. Yep.
Really fun end I came back for, Sean.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
You show up and they start peeling everything.
I'll sit here silently.
Because it's totally your fault.
Looks like some of the other games are tight as well.
And Sheet A, Dunham-Marnock is the only game that I can't see anything happening at all because I'm right up against the side of the sheet. So I don't know what's going on.
I ended up standing up on the chair for the first draw this morning just so I could see the extra end a little bit.
Okay.
Baton and Kim in a tight one.
Yeah,
our game, of course, tied up. Smith is the only one with kind of a blowout going. He's up 6-1 on Corbett.
Yeah, he hung a steal of 3 in the 6th end, and he's currently sitting 2. It looks like Corbett's drawing for 1.
And Rich and company are up 3-1 over there on Brundage.
Sitting 2 and having the hammer.
Yes.
Well, according to the score they've hung, the score is actually 4-3 for Brundage. So.
Yeah, this doesn't have them in the 6th yet. So
yes,
that
that's
just
the
hasn't.
So okay, so the score over there actually is 4-3 for Brundage, but Ruinen is sitting 2. And has a pretty good chance of scoring at least 2, if not 3, this end.
And we're not missing much on our sheet, just another peel.
Guard peel, guard peel, guard peel. How exciting.
And that's a peel.
And the...
it's kind of like NASCAR. And they're turning left.
Here they go. And they're turning left, and they're still turning left. And they're accelerating.
Exactly.
And they're slowing. And it is a final on sheet D. I didn't see whether or not Corbett made his draw for 1, but even if he did, that would put them down 4 without. So either way, it's handshakes and a victory for the Jason Smith rink over Brandon Corbett.
Just waiting for the excruciatingly painful end of this end.
Yeah. Well, it should. Hopefully, we'll have a barn burner of an 8th end.
You would think.
You would hope. So no mistake on the blank. Mike McCarville got what he wanted, so he's had to hammer for most of this game. But he's got it when it counts most in the 8th end. Tie game right after this.
Oh, click.
So now with the center guard established by Team Markey. A little difference in play in past ends. Mike McCarville has drawn to the wing. He's now actually switching it up a bit, and he's actually coming around that center. A little bit surprised by that change of play. If they were to, oh, this is really moving. What happened to this?
That had to have picked.
Yeah, that's gonna set up as another guard. Oh. Well,
that's bad timing for that. But
just the same, I'm not really sure I like that call anyways. If you played this end exactly the same as the last end, you'd be drawing to a wide open house for the win.
Yeah, I'm it's a little curious. I think the thinking there is that once they get to a point where they can peel either side.
That's true.
Right?
Yes, that's true.
But I'm a little surprised that they weren't playing the tick.
Yes, I thought a tick, that was a really good time for a tick myself. But now Dominic really, really being smart about this.
Guard the guard.
The free guard zone doesn't apply to a team's own rocks. So Dominic's going to throw one in front of this so that McCarville cannot peel his own guard. Really smart play, really smart play.
Now McCarville's got to go around.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice. And this end is not starting out the way he wanted.
The only unfortunate thing for Markey is that those two reds ended up in a pretty easy double peel situation, which will leave one half of the 4-foot open.
That's true.
Assuming they make it.
Yep. And I guess what he's hoping is to end up with a favorable situation in the rings that he can turn into a possible steal setup later.
This is actually a really good example for the 5 rock versus the 4 rock, because the 4 rock, when this rock comes to a stop, you would have been walking right up and making that double peel.
Yep. Of course, Dominic would.
Yeah,
Dominic
yeah,
wouldn't be.
Right.
If he had the hammer, absolutely
right.
He would be. But I can practically guarantee you, no matter what happens here, Mike McCarville is going to hustle up there and double those guards off just as soon as he can.
He got a really nice result out of that draw.
Yes, that's a really nice draw.
I mean, anywhere in front of the tee line is great because you've closed off both sides of the 4-foot, but basically biting the button. Now Dom's really got to work hard to get into a steal position.
It's early enough that he'd be okay just freezing to it. He'd like to tap it a little bit, but...
A little tap, like right behind the tee line would be perfect. Whoa.
Just a hair far. Still decent shot.
Yeah.
Tapped it far enough that he isn't counting, but that's not the concern at the moment.
Okay, assuming double peel here, Sean, what does Dom play next? Single guard.
I would say single guard on his own. Or just single center guard.
I'm actually thinking single center guard stacked with the yellow.
You could do that too.
I don't even care about my own rock in the house right now. I just don't want to leave a double peel on the guards.
That's true. Yeah.
So there those go.
Yeah, if you throw the center guard and the double peel is attempted, if it's made perfectly, that red in the house is actually going to go flying anyways.
Right.
So we'll see what Dominic thinks here. I don't want to see anything in the house.
No.
It is much too early for any kind of play in the house right now. And actually, I think we just heard, they're going to talk about it. I just heard Steven say it's too early.
Right.
It's Steven's definitely got the right idea. It's way too early in the end to do anything in the rings.
So next year, I got to figure out how to get a little telestration going.
That would be nice.
Because right now would be a great time.
Get our own version of the Tuckastrator.
I knew you were going to go there.
Well, why wouldn't I?
I have a hunch he might be listening.
Hi, Ben, if you're listening.
Yeah, I like this call. And again, for my money, I like stacking the guards, not making the double peel available. So all they can do is single peel, and that's what it looks like they're trying to do.
Yep.
So get them as lined up as you can.
Because the thought process here, and you're thinking, 3, 4, 5 shots ahead, is you keep stacking the guards properly, single peel, guard peel. Eventually, preferably on maybe Dominic's first, or even his last, you can come around on the outside.
Yep. With that out-turn side, get frozen to that rock.
Get frozen to that one.
And be laying 1-2 with no route in other than a follow.
Yep.
This looks deep and wide.
Deep and wide.
It's not where you want that rock.
Oh, man. Well,
that's trouble.
That's not very good. Pretty tough to make this double any easier.
Nose to anywhere slightly high of nose.
Yep. Very small chance of it happening, but I suppose you want to hit it thin enough that that red actually goes over the top of the one in the rings so that you don't, do something silly like chip it right to the button.
Right. Or chip it to the back of the forefoot and leave a pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Ideally, you're hitting about half of this. That makes him just fine. Rolls to an inconsequential corner guard.
So now it's going to be single guard, and then perfect freeze is my...
Yep.
So Dom's got to keep them peeling. And Mike's smart enough, he's never going to peel it the direction of that corner guard and risk flopping one in or flopping one for a guard, so... It's kind of funny, you and I, we get used to watching and playing and calling these games, and I think that there's probably still a fair number of club curlers out there who would be tempted to go hit that yellow rock in the back of the forefoot.
Absolutely.
Right? And this is where you really learn strategy by understanding that McCarville at this point has to go peel that rock.
Yep.
He can't afford to leave a guard out there for Dominic to then make a hit and roll late.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. It's a different. I've had to explain it time to time to club curler. It's like, okay, why don't they draw the button all the time, or why don't they hit the stone in the house? And it's like, well, understand that misses don't happen nearly as often at this level, and you're always thinking 3 shots ahead, at least. And you're not thinking about what you make, you're thinking about what you leave.
So right on cue, they contradict me and do peel it the way of the corner guard. only because that rock ended up deep enough where it wasn't too much of a danger, but too funny.
And of course, one of the things that might sort of be in the back of Mike's mind right now is that even though he's back 4 foot, he is shot.
He is shot.
So sooner or later, Dominic's going to have to do something with that rock, whether he freezes to it or whatever.
Right.
And then Mike's going to have some kind of reasonably open shot for the win.
Exactly.
Maybe not as open as he'd like, but he will have some kind of look at a winning shot.
What's the depth on this? Get out of the way, guys. That's a decent guard.
Yep, it's almost halfway between the hog line and the house.
Now this is shocking.
He's actually getting.
Yeah, he's looking at playing at that rock in the rings.
Why would you do that? Even if you make that perfectly and kind of roll half under the guard, you're leaving the guard there and you're also leaving the freeze.
Right. I mean, if I was going to play that rock, I would play maybe nose. So
Yep.
you leave it open for a run back later.
Absolutely. Leave something to fire in there if you need it.
I mean, you roll 3 inches too far to the right, and you're dead buried, and they go around you.
Yeah, and then what do you have?
Right. Then you have to peel a guard. I'm really surprised by this.
Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan of this call.
I mean, he's got well, I shouldn't say a guaranteed win, but his chances of winning if he goes up and peels that guard again are pretty darn good. Especially on third rocks.
Yeah. Close to hitting the guard anyways.
He's got the guard off.
might actually be better that happened anyways.
Yeah, I think so.
Ends up as a peel, which is obviously totally fine. Now down to Skip's rocks.
Having a little chat.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you got to throw another guard. Save that for your last one down. Because no matter what happens, that's going to be there.
I wonder if maybe his thought process is, I want to make, whatever happens, I want Mike to shoot against 2. That could be part of his thought process. I mean, I don't know. I know no matter what, I don't really care for hitting that thing. I think the guard is the call. Joe, listen to Dorothy. We need the tuckestrator. It's a little late for it to be Christmas, but
Dorothy knows all.
Dorothy does know all. Dorothy is omniscient. I don't know. Valentine's Day present, maybe? I'm not sure what's next. New Year's Day? New Year's present seems weird.
Yeah, it does. Boxing Day?
Well, that we're past that, too.
Right,
so
that's right.
That was 2 days ago.
Is Kwanzaa still going?
I have no idea.
We're way past Festivus.
Well, oh, yeah.
It looks like the guard is the call, right?
I hope so. That seems like guard ice.
It's out there a ways. Wait for that late finish. Not too tight, guys.
It's almost in the rings, but just about 2 inches out of the rings.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Mike's going to take a run at it.
I don't mind it.
No, there's a little danger of jamming it in the back, but all Mike wants is an open forefoot to draw to. That's all he's looking at here. So
Exactly.
for sure, get the guard off.
Guard off, getting the other one, I would say, is a little bit of a bonus. And it seems to me that it would be kind of hard to dead stuff it on that back one.
Yep.
It might kind of bounce and spin to the back 12 or something.
Yeah, you'd have to hit it pretty thin.
Yeah, because it's going to be spinning, and it's going to spin off of that one towards the left.
Should I knock on wood for Mike McCarville?
You can if you want. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
All right.
See if that works for me not to jinx him.
Knock on wood to not jinx something? Interesting.
Oh, Mike's come up a bit.
Oh.
He almost did it.
Oh, yeah, it was close. he almost just kind of chipped it frozen.
Yeah,
that would have been, oh, man.
Seen that happen before.
So now down to Dominic's last. Now the conversation is, what do we do here? You could play the freeze.
Could play the tap.
You could just kind of play a little hit and roll, like a foot to the right, kind of have two of them bite in the forefoot, and dare Mike to either make a note hit and stick or a draw to the 4.
I still like a little freeze tap.
Yeah.
Just move it 8 inches, so you're shot. But
yeah.
But make sure that he doesn't have a gimme.
Yeah. You mean move it 8 inches so you're sitting 2? Is that
Yep.
what you mean? Okay.
Move it 8 inches so you're sitting 2, but you're still dead in front of it.
Right.
Make him worry about playing the hit.
Mm-hmm. And also make it so where he can't just play the pick for the win.
Right. As it is, looks like they're lining up the hit here.
That's what it looks like. And I mean, it's not wrong.
Nope.
It really is all about what do you want him to throw.
Yep.
I mean, if you want him to throw a draw with no backing, I don't mind playing the hit, honestly.
Right.
Roll just about where the broom is.
Yeah.
Just leave that one just nibble in the forefoot to where a hit and stick for the win is really, really hard, and then he's got to draw the 4 cold. I'm okay with that.
So just to let you know, we've got an extra end going on sheet A with Dunham and Marnock, 7-7. That's the second extra end game on sheet A today.
Oh my.
Another tight one on sheet B, 6-5 in the 8th. Baton with the hammer there. That game is over on sheet D, of course, with Smith and Corbett. Ruinen up 6-4 on Brundage, playing the 7th. Brundage has hammer.
Brundage took one, so it's 6-5. Ruinen up 1 with hammer.
Well, didn't get the roll they wanted there, Sean.
Nope. So just needs to hit it on the nose. As long as he stays 4 foot, Carville will pick up the win. You can afford to roll towards the middle of cup a little bit. You really don't have a lot of room to roll to the right at all.
Center line side is just fine.
Absolutely. Me personally, I would probably only throw maybe hack at this.
Hack the board.
Let the sweepers control it.
Yep. Would the sweepers call out control?
I think so.
Don't want to lose this one.
It's moving.
Moving hard.
Really gotta go.
Looks like he's got enough, I think.
Nice shot.
Really nice shot.
Carville's going to pick up a hard-fought 3-2 win over Dominic Markey.
Another really good game, really even field here, Sean. We're going to be back on later tonight at 7 o'clock. I think Evan's going to be joining you for that draw.
I believe so.
And at that time, it'll be Mr. Ruinen versus Kelly Marnock.
Oh boy.
Another good game. We might might actually want to think about miking some players up for that game because that would be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. Agreed.
So if you want to take it away and wrap it up.
Yeah. So again, we'll be back at 7 tonight. Roon and Keller Marnock. And until then, we're gonna step off for a bit, and we will see you then. 7 o'clock, U.S. Open.